Hello and welcome back to Tuesday's vlog, a very hot Tuesday's vlog. Now you lot down south, you won't need me to tell you how hot it is. My God, let's just have a little look in here. Now this is actually relatively cool at the back end of the garage, out the sun. Let's just see what the temperature is. It's 25 degrees in here, but honestly the back edge of the garage isn't too bad. In the sun there, it's really warm, 30 degrees. So anyways, we had a good weekend in the caravan this weekend. I've put a few things. I've just thought I'd let you know, straight at the beginning of the video, a few people have mentioned ways to contact us and etc on YouTube. As you know, I can't go handing out addresses, phone numbers, anything like that on YouTube because everything is public. But I know a few of you have mentioned, you have recommended us to people or people who you know want to speak to us. What I've done on the main page of my Facebook, YouTube channel, if you go on, it just tells you the description of what I do and all the rest of it. And on there at the bottom, I've added a phone number. It's not my private number, it's just an old pay-as-you-go phone I have sitting around, so don't expect to ring it and get an answer straight away or a reply. Clearly, that's the only way I can do this. There's a phone number on there. What I would suggest is you just text me on that number, your phone number, and your name, and I'll ring you back when I see the message. And also, like I've mentioned, I've got a Facebook page. So if you go onto Facebook, type in Cardiff Garage Northeast, hit the like button or whatever you do on it, follow. And on there, I'm the administrator on it. You can send me a private message with your name and contact details, or just simply use Messenger through Facebook. So I just thought I'd put that one on there. But yeah, so we've had a good weekend. Absolutely glorious over there at White House Farm. Friday, when I took the caravan up, which you seen on last week's vlog, that one caravan that was there, the fella who had that left first thing on Saturday morning, and since Saturday morning we had the whole place to ourselves, and there's nobody ever around there. So you've literally got as a field which must be a 3 to 4 mile perimeter around it, free use of that. So the dogs could just be let off. I don't do it when there's other people on the site. The dogs were off the leader pretty much all the time to roam about. We brought the paddling pool from home for the kids. We had that little bench, which we didn't move, by the way. That had been placed there by somebody else. And I'd levelled it up with some bricks, so it was nice and level to sit on. Put my parasol up, and it was great. Absolutely fantastic having the place to ourselves for the weekend. I couldn't have asked for better. But as I said, the weather forecast on Sunday night, it was actually okay. But Monday morning, trying to pack the caravan away and bring it home, it had me nearly ill. It was terrible, and it's not much better there today in here. I think my dad's gone over to have a look at some guy selling fans, like industrial fans. So fingers crossed there's some of them left, which I don't hold much hope. Because that's the problem with this workshop, you see. If I just pan round, you've got a huge, massive opening there. That's great if you've got the wind coming from the south, because it's a south-facing door. But there's no other windows or anything in the garage. So naturally, if you could open something at the back here, it would create a through draft. But there isn't. All that there is just that side door there, which is right next to the front door. It helps a little bit, but that's the only problem. And the roof is like got windows in, so you're not technically in the shade. It's great when it's not hot, because it provides light for working instead of it being dark. But so yeah, that's the biggest issue today, is the heat. But we'll get through it. So what we got? Oh, yes. No, actually, I can't put this bit on yet. I'm going to have to try and keep this out of view a little bit, because I've done a few things to it, which I'll do on a separate video. So what we've got in today is, I've already seen this on a previous review I did when I had my Volvo S80. This is a 1999 or 98 T-plate S-Type. Now, this is our landlord's car. When he bought this brand new in 98, 99, this is, again, making me feel old. I remember this was factory fresh from the showroom, and he brought this car into the garage. I couldn't even drive at the time. I passed my test in 2006, and he took me out for a drive in this, and it was one of the most fanciest cars I had been in. It had all the thing where you can talk to it, set the climate control, and this car's been nurtured. It's been kept in the garage all the time, hardly ever used. And unfortunately, though, it's been passed on to his son. He hasn't abused it, but he's not really interested in cars. As you can see, these wheels here, they haven't been cleaned in a long time, and it's breaking my heart. I'll show you some other bits of things that's gone on with it. To see it going to waste, because I'm sure when he gave it to his son, I'm probably saying 3 years ago now, well, do a check on the MOT history, you'll see on the miles, up until a couple of years ago, it had silly low mileage. Now it has, I think it's got 60-something or 50-something on now, which is still very low for a Mark 1 S-Type. But even underneath, it's still in really good condition. These things rot terribly. And this is still like new underneath. Yeah, there's little bits of surface here and there, and somebody's had a jack of some kind under here, but normally these are absolutely gone by now. And this one really is a one-off. All the way, it's all aluminium subframes at the front. This is the 3-litre V6 Jaguar engine. But all completely original. Little bits here, which we'll probably advise them. We'll do a bit of topping up. But yeah, beautiful. But I'll bring it down. I just thought I would show you underneath. Obviously rear wheel drive, hidden tow bar, remember that getting fitted as well. So yeah, bring it down and I'll show you on the top. So yeah, it is, 3-litre V6, definitely in my opinion the best engine in these. They did a 2.5 V6, which is more or less identical layout to this, just different CC. They were pretty pointless, I thought, because why would you want a 2.5 when there's a perfectly good 3-litre available? They were quite underpowered, thirsty, and you really had to push them to get going. The 3-litre is definitely the one to go for in the S-Type at least. They did the V8s, and the V8 are the crazy ones, but then you are getting into really silly miles per gallon, and with fuel prices today, I think we borderline unaffordable to run one of those, a V8 one. But yeah, absolutely immaculate under here. Now this is an earlier chassis code. This is what you call the L chassis code, and then it followed on by, I can't remember what it was, and there's a lot of differences, like the air filter's different. I've just ordered a track rod end, they're different. There's quite a lot of difference between the earlier ones, and this being a T-Reg, these were the very first of the line. There's quite a few differences, and I actually prefer these earlier ones. They're much better built than the later ones. But yeah, on here, I've just showed you about what on earth's gone on with this wiper. I do not know, and why it's not even being reported. You know, that's something I would have seen to immediately. I mean, I'll pull the bonnet down a little bit. Oh, he has reported it. But something's badly gone on with that. I don't know what, and I just hope it hasn't damaged none of the mechanism on it. But yeah, that's that. I mean, even down to the little bits, this has got the winter pack on with the headlight washers. It's got the colour-coded washer jets. How many cars do you see with colour-coded washer jets? Are just little things like that make a big difference on these. He spec'd it with the sunroof as well, which was a rare option back in the day. As well as, believe it or not, you would think these things would be standard on a car of this calibre. This little button down here, electric folding mirrors. That was an expensive option, honestly, it really was. You'd think that would be standard. It is nowadays. Memory seats, it's got, like I've mentioned, it's got the cruise control, the speaking function where you can actually tell the car to put the climate control, heated seats, all the usual kind of malarkey on here. What do they call that? The J-gate, well known across Jaguar. But yeah, just a lovely car. All the electric seats, definitely a one that I wish I could have gotten a hold of straight off the guy who had it. I would have loved to. And Joe, obviously we all know Joe up there, he had loads of these, at least 3 of them, and he always lusted after wanting this car as well. So it's not been abused in any way, shape or form, but it's, personally I think it should have been kind of saved, this one. Which now it's getting along, it's getting there. It's really nice condition, but it's getting along the lines now of just being from, I would call, a concourse perfect edition to being okay, good, better than average, you know. And this back door at the back, again with Joe's had the same issue, the deadlocks failed on it. So I believe with these you've got to do some, if I remember rightly, they were an absolute nightmare. So we're going to do some inquiries to find out who wants to do it or whatever, because I would imagine now getting pieces of door trim in that for these will be near on impossible. But that's the only, oh well, it does open. Is this the inside? It doesn't. Oh, it's the inside. Saying that, like, I would check the basic that the child lock isn't on, which I don't think we'll have. I may have just fixed it there. Child lock's been on. Let's just see.
I'm not sure this is
I may have just fixed it. Let's have a look. It's opening on the inside.
I think it says it doesn't lock.
Doesn't lock.
I'll try it.
We'll try it now. The key's over there. We'll try locking it and see what happens. Car locked. Door locked. Unlock. Unlocked. There we go. I'll add £50 onto the bill, and that'll be me for some beers. Jaguar technician right there. So that saved the headache, hasn't it? On the line of keys, I just want to show you as well. You can see this. We all know me little van. We all know this is a Jag, yeah? So this is clearly an old Fiesta key. So now, with my Fiesta key, I'm going to lock this Jag. And watch the indicators. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Locked. And with the Jag key, you can see the Fiesta. This is a Jaguar key. This Fiesta is open. Jaguar key. Locked. Just a little tip there. These Tibby keys will lock any vehicle. They won't unlock it, but they will lock it. So just a little tip there. Completely useless information, but I bet a lot of you guys didn't know that. That my Fiesta key could lock this Jag, and the Jag key could lock the Fiesta. But like I've said, I'll show you the other way around. Now the Jag's locked, as you can see, it won't let you unlock. Only lets you lock. So just to let you know, if you've got this kind of era of Ford or Jag with this key, any key can lock the car, but it won't unlock it. Naturally, only the correct key does. So there you go. There is some useless information, which I thought that you would just like to know. And I'm hoping that might have sorted something out with that door. Because with the child lock being on, it permanently engages what you call a deadlock. So now with the child lock off, if he's not pressing the double lock button on the key, which we'll have to remind him, this is a top tip for anybody with Ford's Mondeo Mark 3s in Jaguars. A lot of people have a habit, if you press the red button or the lock button twice, it does what you call a deadlock. But when you do a deadlock and the motor fails, that means it cannot be opened from the inside, and you've got to smash the door card to bits. But by putting a child lock on, what you're doing is manually engaging a deadlock constantly. So my advice to this customer would be, when you hit the lock button, only do it once. Don't do it twice. And if it fails, you can always go into the car and unlock it from the interior door handle, meaning you can get the door open. But what happens is, like this guy, is the child lock's been on, so therefore even if he hits the lock button once, you can't get to the child lock button when the door's closed. So what you're effectively doing is permanently having the deadlock on all the time. So now that child lock's off, if he only hits the button once, there'll never be a time where he can't open that door. Because when it's not deadlocked, if it doesn't unlock, you just go on the inside and pull the handle and it'll open. So there you go. There's a little bit of advice. And a bit of advice, if you have got child locks on your car, if you're not using them as much as what you think or whatever, try not to have them activated. Because remember, when you activate a child lock, you have a permanent deadlock. So if your locking motor fails, you can't open the car from the inside. And a lot of cars now don't have the little switches and knobs what you can lock and unlock them with. They're like just all inside the door. So there we go. The only other thing we've got in today, which is this somewhere. Well, that's into tomorrow. We've got another one coming in today, but with this heat, it can wait till tomorrow. If it's going to be touching 35 degrees by 1 o'clock, it's going to be warm. But we've got this one in. Dacia Duster. This is my pal Darren's. He's had it in a few times. If you remember, I had it in a few weeks ago, and we did these. I just thought I'll test it and see what it's like. I did the painting on his drums, and they still look as good as new. He was over the moon with those. But this was the one which I showed you, had been so cold service from Dacia. Oh, he's put his private plate on now. I can't remember what year this thing is now, but I had the original filter on it. So supposedly Dacia had been servicing it, and they hadn't been. But so obviously in that time I did the oil and filter for him, I think, and the air filter, and the only thing that was left was the fuel filter. But like I've mentioned on these, the inside of the arch. At the time I think he was just wanting us to do it, but the inside the wheel arch on these. So unfortunately it's on the lift, possibly wheel off, and all this I'm just pointing in the wrong place, and this stuff pulled out the way to get to it. Why they do that, I don't know. Last part of the vlog today for Tuesday. I just thought I'd show you. Wait, there's another car coming, a Kia there, but I'll go more to that tomorrow as a separate vlog, because it's actually tomorrow's job. So this is the Dacia, the Duster. As you can see, I've had to have it on the lift, pull back all of this, and the fuel filter is in there. Big bracket and everything you've got to remove, but they don't have to make things awkward. Basically with this, you've got to open up the full unit. You get all the new Torques for it, which are here. This is an interference fit, which goes in, so you've actually got to remove the water filter drainer from the bottom, screw this special adapter in they give you in the kit, screw it in, and then basically bash it up against the vice. And yes, that is actually a picture on the actual instructions stating to do that. So done that, and obviously the one that we've removed is the original Renault one. I was looking for some date stamps, but I can tell you now, just like the air filter we did on this car a long time ago, that ain't been changed in a long time. Probably, obviously it's got Renault on, so it's the original. I doubt the dealers have ever had this out. So there you go. And just while I'm on the subject of that, I'll add in a little bit the Kia outside. Another one with one of these fixed service plans. Look at the state of that. It's absolutely packed. Solid. That certainly hasn't been changed for a long, long time. But I'll go more into that tomorrow. I don't even obviously know if it's petrol, diesel. I haven't even looked under the bonnet. But just thought I'd show you. Where's the stickers of it? They're on the top. Original Marley Kia Hyundai. So, there's your servicing plans, basically. That hasn't just done 5,000 or 6,000 miles, I can assure you. So I'll leave that there. I'll get more into that car. Don't even know the mileage, don't know nothing. I'll do a proper vlog on that tomorrow. But I just thought I'd show you when I get this back together. What I have done, show you. Everything's been marked up, a white mark, and then I've put a white mark on the pipe on the car. That are two different sizes. One side took them off, you can see the white mark on that one. But trust us, to make a little white mark here and there, it just saves you a whole load of time. Because as you can see, there's not a great deal of difference in the size. For mixing pipes up, same when I took this apart, it's probably come off with the diesel. I did a white mark around this, just across the top and down, so I knew it went back in the right position. Takes you less than a matter of seconds to put the mark on. It could take you hours to work it all back out again when you come to put it back together and you forgot how you took it apart. So always mark things up. Saves you a whole load of hassle and time. So I'll catch you on tomorrow's vlog. Bye. Hello and welcome back to Wednesday's vlog, and thankfully it cooled off last night. Must have been about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Nice cool breeze started coming in through the window. Let the dogs out, and sure enough the temperature had just gone like that. So over the moon, much better working environment today. So I just thought I'd show you these jobs were actually in yesterday, which were done today. You seen that Kia? I wanted to go through that one, but I didn't realise the car got dropped off yesterday. So you might have just seen it in the corner of the yard. It was a Kia Sportage. It was in for service and MOT on a, let me just get the board so I'm correct here, just so I can show you guys this. I'm going at the office. What plate was it? Oh, actually I don't think he's got it written on it'll be on the MOT board. 64 plate, 2014. Dogs are enjoying the cool 14. They're cooling off nicely. The first time in... Oh, forgot to say, everyone, say happy birthday. It's Harvey's birthday today. He's 9. He's not interested. 20th of July, 9 years old. It feels like, honestly, just like yesterday, picking him up as a tiny puppy, like I did with Hunter. So, yeah, just thought I would mention that. Happy birthday, Harvey. But got some ventilation in for them. But what I was saying, first time in 9 years yesterday, I didn't walk in for, no reason. There's times where it's, where I've left them at home with Holly. But yeah, that was that. Anyways, back to the point. This filter, Kia filter, has never been changed. I'm not sure if I showed you this yesterday. It was that hot, I can't even remember. But yeah, that has never ever been changed. It's supposed to have had one of those service plans. If you look closely into that, it is deeply packed with muck. that has never been changed from new, I'll tell you now. The Dacia as well, that had a private plate on, but you might remember when it come in last time, it didn't. Now this filter, the fuel filter on these, if you remember, the air filter had the date stamp of 2014 on, because it's a 64 plate as well, that Duster. I don't know if this will zoom in or not, but can you see at the top there, the date stamp, 26th of the 9th, 2014, just where my finger is. I'm not sure how clear that shows that up there. You see that? 26th of the 9th, 2014. So there's another one on a service plan from a main dealer. Fuel filter, never been changed. You've seen the air filter was worse than that, had never been changed. So all them stamps in the book from the dealer in that Duster, nothing had ever been done. Fuel filter, air filter, never done. That Kia, again, that air filter, I can tell you now, that I'm going to go back and have a look at the mileage on that car. That was in from new. That air filter ain't been changed. It was a 64 plate and it had 66,000 mile. Do you know what it is? If 66,000 mile of light driving, I would say that filter has got about 66,000 mile on that air filter. The oil that come out, obviously they always do change the oils because they know they can't get away with that. But I thought they would know better. If there's date stamps on something and they're dating back to the exact date that car was made, they're really pushing that luck, in my opinion. But that's why I've gone off having a new car. That's why the L200, got rid of it. I was sick to death of having to jump through hoops and do what they say as a dealer. You know, like, I wanted to put this on it, you can't for warranty, you want to do that, you want to do that. They're ringing you up to take it in for recalls, and you're constantly having to take it in, go for... Pleased I got rid of it. I'm so happier now with me older vehicles that I've got, and you don't have to bother with that, you just get on with it yourself. So I've shown you guys it many times before. The S-Type we had in yesterday, that's coming back in today, because I've been in getting a genuine, this has had to come from London somewhere, Lemforder, Trackwood end, I wasn't happy to fit some rubbish, so that's getting fitted some point today. And like I was telling you, with it being a different chassis code, it's slightly different. Got a Bilingo van, it's in for a full service. It's a hard working van, so it's getting the full lot done. It's done the mileage, fuel filter, oil filter, air filter, DV6 or DV5 engine. It'll be the DV6 probably with that fuel filter. Pain in the arse, like I've mentioned to you about the air, get it out eventually. The oil filters are a royal pain on these. You've got to move everything round, but I've done that many of them now, it's kind of second nature. But yeah, quickly with this one, what I'm going to do, which I've shown you before, but I'll show you again because it is part of the daily vlog. So we'll start it up first. Just to turn the steering wheel. Oh, turn that off. Right, so obviously as you've seen when I started it up, it's got the spanner light on there, and when you put your key in the when you first switch it on, look at that radio coming on. Twice I've had to turn it off. It's flashing there. Do you see that minus? Radio off again. I don't know what it is with these new vehicles. Why is there not a button just to turn the radio off? It does my head in. I can't understand that. Why does the radio, if you watch this, look, turn the key off, back on, radio on. I don't want it on. I turned it down. You know, this is the annoyance of new vehicles. There we go, radio on again, volume fully down. So I put the volume on mute, off, back on, music on. Pathetic. Anyways, what I'm going to have to try and do now is do the service reset as well as hitting the volume button when I switch the ignition on. So if you remember on these, I need two hands to do this. You just hit that, the reset button, and switch the ignition on at the same time. Just like that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reset. How much easier is that than these stupid BMWs and Minis? Key off, there's the spanner gone from next to that. Ignition on, turn radio off. Start it up, there's telling you 16,000 mile. Oil okay. No more spanner symbol. Easy as that. And that's all that ever needs to be. It doesn't need to be awkward. I can't understand why they make them awkward. Anyways, so now we're going to pull this into the garage and we'll check through the lights. So we'll get it in, just turn it round. Just watching what's going on. I'm on private land before anybody says. Spin it round. I was working out the other day how many times I think I've drove in and out this garage. I wouldn't even like to put a number on it. So yeah, we'll go through the lights when we get in. The windscreen's full of mess. I don't really want to cause too much more mess, but I need to check the wipers as part of the service. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to make a mess with that bird droppings on the screen. So there we go, it's the van in. Just going to edge it back a bit. Right, so first up we'll just check the horn. Normally if there's any lights off on some of these they give you warnings, but I'm just going through checking them. I can obviously see both headlights are on, but we'll go around and check them. Wipers, yes, I am going to have to make a mess. Don't want to, but I'm going to have to. They don't look good at all. That's doing more smearing. I don't know if you guys can pick that up, but it's just smearing more than anything else. I might ask him if he wants a new set of wipers on it, but unfortunately these flat blades now, these flat blade wipers are really not cheap. That is just more or less smearing rather than wiping. It really doesn't pick that up on camera. But I'll give him a ring, see what he says. It might just be the fact the screen's dirty, but then wipers do look like they've gone really hard, the rubber on them. So we'll check the lights. So we'll put them all on. Obviously we'll just check the main beam, we know they're working, because obviously that I can't check the proper lights with those. Fog lights on, hazard lights on. Bit of a problem there, the hazard light button. Oh, it is working now. Yep, so that's that. Obviously my dad will be back any second, he'll check the brake lights with us. I have got a bit of wood I can use. So, we'll have a look here. First up, number plate lights. Yes. I don't know if you guys can see those. Yes and yes. Like I mentioned for MOT, if it's got two, you only need one to work. If it's got one that doesn't work, it's a fail. So just one working's a minor. If you've only got one clearly and it isn't working, it's a fail. So we'll have a look in there, check in there nice and orange, which they are. We've got our side light on, which is working. We've got our fog lights on. Fog light on, side light on. That one's going a little bit white, but I wouldn't say it's too bad. It'll be a mild advisory for its MOT. They quite often go off on these, but again, I get my dad to check that. We'll go on to the front. Indicator working, indicator, side light, dip beam. See, side light out, we've got one off here. Sometimes just give them a tap and it can come on, but I can see that bulb's blackened. So we've got that to do. Side light bulb, headlights working okay, indicators fine. So what we'll do now is we'll just knock it off. And just put it into reverse. Probably because I haven't put the ignition on, it's probably my fault. Yes, it is my fault. There we go, ignition on, that stupid radio's come back on again. There we go. Both reverse lights working. So I've just got that side light to do at the front. I'll just turn this radio off. Really, really annoying that is. So there we go, obviously we've got that side light to do, brake lights to check. And like I say, I'll come back to you when I've got all this stripped down. It's a bit of an awkward job, messy job, diesel everywhere, oil filters are a pain in the bum on these. Which I'll show you now. Where is it? I'll just turn these lights off for a minute. Hazards off. I noticed that on the Billingo van we worked on the other day, which I showed you. That radio keep coming on every single time you switch the ignition on. Enough to drive you insane. They're quite nice spec these, I will say though. Like, I mean, obviously they've got such a low loading area at the bottom. Side loading door. And the answer to the question, if anybody says, do you like these, Dan? Yes, I do. Would I have one? Yes, I most certainly would. For a lot of reasons. Huge opening at the back. Side loading doors. They're one of the biggest vehicles, like, for their size, like, for, like, using the space well. And do you know what the main thing is? What I love about these, like, my little van here, this is just a Fiesta. You know what's fantastic about these, which would really suit me down to the ground? They've got 2 seats. So it's perfect for me. If it's just me and Holly with Olivia, ideal. If it's me when I've got the 2 kids, have the dogs, it's such a good idea that what they did with these small vans. Is putting that little seat in the middle. Absolutely thumbs up to Citroen and Peugeot for doing that. I hate the radio keep coming on, like I keep mentioning, sorry about that. But that touchscreen system, really good, modern. You've got air conditioning, you've got cruise control. and a speed limiter. Remember, there's some top-end Volkswagen and Audis don't get that. You've got all sorts, what are they? Parking sensors. Has this actually got parking sensors? Yeah, traction control. Obviously, all the auxiliary controls here. Just checking there. Yeah, it has. It's got factory parking sensors. Thumbs up, like, these are good. It's the Enterprise, which means it's the nice spec one. But thumbs up to these vans. You know, I call this engine that's in them as well. If you look after them and you service them to death, they're okay. My biggest gripe with these engines is when you're getting them in Volvos and you're getting them in Fords and you're getting them in all sorts of what I've showed you. You know, in a Citroen, it's fine because it's a Citroen engine. I'll just put the bonnet prop up, 2 minutes, and just get that in. So yeah, this is the better one. This is the 8 valve. The DV6, they come in a 16 valve and an 8 valve. 8 valves I want to go for. And there you see there, DV6, you see. But the main one you want to really go for is the DV5, the 1500, much better engine. And obviously development of this engine. But the DV6 with the 8 valve isn't bad at all. Just make sure you look after them. You know, correct oils, service. But there's the filter down there. Fuel filter. Faff to do, I've showed you them ones with the little torques on. And you've got to separate them off. I'm not even going to bother recording, probably doing it, because there's nothing to see. It's just, and I've already done it, I've showed you on a one the other week, with those little brass fitments, and it's the type that you can't fill, and like I've already warned you about these, do not attempt these on your driveway, because you can't pre-fill them. You need a vacuum pump to connect on, which you suck through, and it pre-fills the filter for you. Do not attempt doing these on your own. I would seriously, definitely tell you not to do that. And like I've said, the usual rubbish with the oil filter. I'm trying to do this one-handed, but I can't manage. Got to take this pipe off here. So you just get that bit out and pull that out. In fairness, I'm being a little bit over the top. It's more the focuses and the stuff like that, the Fords that are a pain. So actually now, I'll personally apologise for that. One pipe off and you can get to it relatively okay, but they're still a royal pain. As you can see, I put my markings on them just to be sure. Still a pain in the arse filter to do. Awful idea. I wish they had have gotten rid of these a long time before now. But they didn't. And the air filter isn't bad at all either. So we'll leave that one here. In fact, no, not when it's up on the lift. I'll cut back in and do a very short video of underneath. Because it's already on to 14 minutes now. I did a decent video yesterday. I don't want to make them too long for you, in case you find the longer videos are boring or whatever. So I'll do a quick show you underneath, because there's a lot of good things to like about the underneath of these vehicles as well, because they're actually not a bad little van or car if you buy the car version of them. So I'll catch you soon. Right, as promised, I'll quickly show you this Bilingo. Since I've been doing it, I'll just show you. I had a set of wipers on, fuel filter, oil filter, air filter. There's nothing to show, because we did them about 2 years ago, so it's just all the stuff that I had done anyways. It had done the miles. I needed front pads on. I was going to show you that, but you've seen it 100 times before. New brake pads fitted, and also new CV boot ties. And the best things to use are just Jubilee clips, hose clips on these. You put these kind of clips on, and they never get a proper hold. They'll pop off straight away. Of years of experience, we've learned that. The only just thing you've got to be careful is just check you haven't got any ABS sensors, so naturally spin it round and just check clearances by hand before driving it, otherwise you could damage an ABS sensor. Some cars you can, some cars you can't, or vans. So yeah, just thought I'd show you underneath these things. There was, like I was mentioning before, they're a solid little van. Everybody yips on about these Volkswagen Caddies and stuff. Honestly, I wouldn't waste my money. If I was going to buy, wanting a van of this size, I would have one of these. Just like I've mentioned previously, the engines, you've got to look after them. They're not, I'm saying that, mind, they're probably more reliable than the 1.6 and the 2-litre TDIs that they use in the Volkswagen group, 100%. Some of these started going to the automatic handbrakes. This luckily isn't, so try to avoid the ones with the electronic handbrakes. Back axles on these, I did away with the torsion bars that they had years ago. Just old-fashioned standard springs, which is perfect. Shockers look like a nightmare to change unless this whole cradle drops down. But the usual things with these Citroen Peugeots, these exhaust bracket clamps are absolutely rubbish. In fact, I'm going to get some black spray paint and just spray there and there, because I know that they're an issue. And there's one that sits at the back there. The only thing with these I would recommend you do is all the exhaust clamp areas, try and get some heat-proof paint or something, or just regularly coat them with something. In fact, I'm just looking at this. This has been pushed across. That's too close to the exhaust. Just while we're up here, I thought I'd mention this doesn't have AdBlue. It's one of the very last before they started doing it, but what it does have is PATS fluid. It's like basically a fuel additive in this tank that gets dosed into the tank every few times you fill up. Obviously, the computer controls how much goes in and when. Just thought I'd show you that. A lot better idea than the AdBlue, but quite expensive to put the stuff in. If you remember back to my videos of my 406, believe it or not, a 51 plate, the same age as that had a PATS fluid tank as well. So yeah, but just generally underneath, they're rock solid. I mean, this is a new van, a 16 plate, but honestly, if you coat some of these bits here, which are just bare metal, they do tend to last. The subframes are really good on them. Not often you'll hear me singing the praises of a Citroen and Peugeot, really, but these are a good little van, and I would definitely have one myself. So there you go. I just thought I'll quickly show you under there and what's being done. As well, you know, just some wipers, the bulb, and things like that. And what I'll quickly zoom in a minute onto this is just being dropped off for pre-MOT. And I'm not overly sure, because there's quite a bit of work I think it needs done. But the customer thinks it'll be fine. But it's got an ABS light on for a start, which has mentioned somebody's been braying on with a wheel nut. I need to see what on earth's gone on there. So I'll come back to you when that's on the lift and we've got our list of things that's wrong with it for an MOT. So we'll find out. Well, I'll show you what I did with this. I'm going to go through the lights, wipers, seat belts, all the stuff on the top, and then work our way to underneath when it's on the lift. Right, so not good news for the Megane. Didn't like these things when they were new. Don't like these things now when they're old. Hence there's none of them left because they're horrendous. There's a list of failures. So we'll start off. Pre-MOT checks. Oil. Nothing on the stick. You'll see why later. That was a bulb out. Main beam bulb. The lady asked us to do it, so I've done it. Absolute rat's nest down there. Somebody's been faffing about with wires. There's not even a bulb holder in, but I've managed to get it in to a certain extent and it works. Don't need to walk around the back. There's a number plate light out there. Done that. That just keeps her legal for now. But there's not a good start. And these are horrendous for doing bulbs. Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. So anyways, we'll take it up and we'll see what's wrong with it. Right, so where do we start? Believe it or not, no play on the wheels. But what I did notice when I brought it into the garage and braked, you could feel the suspension pushing back over. And the reason why, I don't know if you can see in here, I don't know how I'm going to film this, if it'll come on show on the phone. These bushes are hanging out on the wishbones. They don't look it, but when you get the bar in and work them, they're knackered. Front springs, both broken, as you can see. I can probably just pull that piece out with my hand there. There you go. Broken spring. Somebody has also been on with this cap off, drilling a snapped wheel stud. Now, as a tester, you can't fail this because it's covered. But I'm just not sure how the rules are if you actually know that. Like, if the customer's told you that there's a snap one in there. Even me as a tester, that's a queer one. But anyways, bottom bush, back bush on the wishbone arm, broken spring. Over to this side. Yep, same story. Broken spring. See if it'll come out. I don't like putting my fingers in these, but that isn't a great deal of weight when the suspension's hanging. We'll never do that when the weight's on. There we go. Another broken spring. As well as, this one's even worse. This, I'll see if I can get underneath better with the phone. The actual top of this one, somebody's had all this oil, which you've noticed the oil slow is getting in and just made the bush fall to bits. So that's that. Now we'll take it up. Right, on to why the oil is low. Because it's everywhere underneath. All the way back here, all the way back there. Absolutely soaking the floor with oil. Right away back. Right, all the way back up to the back axle. Soaking wet with oil. In fact, there's oil dripping there. For MOT reasons, it's got to be quite severe, but this would be a very, very, very strong advisory how bad that leak is. So there's a bad oil leak. Other thing, this car has an ABS warning light on. There's your answer right there. Somebody's been braying on that hard. The ABS sensor has fallen out of the bracket. You can't change them brackets because they're actually part of the hub on these, so it's a big headache. CV boot is leaking grease. Where else do I start? Where the hell do I finish? Exhaust, I put a clamp on, but it is still blown badly on the clamp. That'll affect the emissions. They've put new brackets on and stuff. Oh yes, sorry, on here. If you look through there, and you see I'll just point the torch to it there. There's the drill bit, which has been drilled into the snap stud. So we know there's a wheel stud missing. What's that? That's another new one to put in. So that's not good. To the back, shockers, quite bad condition. Strong advisory because they're actually not leaking. That one actually is starting to leak. Not good. And the state of this disc, nowhere that's passing. And unfortunately, these discs are a bearing. So they're very expensive. You've actually got to replace the bearing is part of the disc. So the discs are expensive. Obviously it's going to need rear discs and pads as well. I'm going to refer back to my list because there's other stuff I've put on there. Let's have a look. Yeah, so feel the front springs. The pipes are covered in grease and oil and God knows what. ABS sensor, yep. Oil leak, bad, yep. But again, probably just an advisory. The CV boot, the brake offside, rear brake disc, inner exhaust leak, mild, which on the midsection there may or may not pass. Rear shockers and the 2 wishbone bushes. And that's when people come in. When I said she was harping on about the ABS fault. I said, let's forget about the ABS fault. Pre-Mot. Oh no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. It isn't fine. So yeah, I'm going to leave that one there. Just thought I'd show you a quick pre-MOT on cars that you get every day coming in. I told her not to buy this car anyways, the Renault. People don't listen. So she went out and she bought the Renault with a small amount of MOT on it. I said it's only worth getting if it's got a full MOT, which she didn't do. So, and I know for a fact they won't be able to afford to do all this. And then back discs alone are very expensive. So, time to ring her up and give her the bad news. I hate being the bearer of bad news, but at times it's one of those situations of, I told you so. Anyways, on to type this back in. As you know, the track rod end, it's getting that done. I've already showed you. I'm getting that specially ordered in from down the country, which come overnight. Genuine equipment one. 11th order. And I'll show you that on tomorrow's vlog. Keep this short because I think this week's vlog is going to be way over an hour. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you don't, just say, and I'll cut everything out and just make it minimal, a couple of minutes every day, and try and keep it down to something like 15-20 minutes in a week. But then a lot of you say that you like the longer videos. Let us know your thoughts on that. So yeah, I'll get back to you on tomorrow's vlog. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome back to Thursday's vlog. And it's not your average Corsa we've got in the day. Well, we have actually got it. I'll show you what's in first. We have got an average Corsa in for discs and pads. And this is my uncle's car with what used to be my first number plate ever got. Ibby was my nickname. He says I can have this back when he decides to get rid of the car. But it's a nice one, hybrid in. This is in for the Lango Guard rust proofing, which I'll show you all later on. This is in for discs and pads. Not sure how bad to the extent of this will be. Doesn't look like they're down to the metal yet. Oh, yeah, that one is though. See, down to the metal. It's damaged all the disc. So, front discs and pads for this one, which I've already got ordered in. And I'll show you what the Porsche's in for. I think we might be pulling another couple of jobs in. I think there's some MOT on a Dacia Duster and a few other jobs. But I'll show you what this. I've got this in. It's actually for sale if anybody's interested. It's the Boxer S, and it's got loads of extra spec on it, like it's all the Bose sound system. I'll show you later on. Parking sensors. The guys owned it from pretty much brand new to one-off. Like I must say, it's only got 30,000 mile, and it's being the S. I'm sure these are a 3.2. They're the flat 6, about 250 brake horsepower if I remember right. But underneath, it's in good nick. I've checked all these coffin arms on it, which is your usual expense on these, which all the bushes seem alright. And you've got your main fork arm, if you look, it stretches right the way up there to there, and they all seem good. I just thought I'd show you guys underneath one of these. You probably have never really seen one. They're not too bad really. If you look, there's a bit of stripping down to do the spark plugs, which are up here, but you can usually get your hand in up there, 6 of them at each side. There's the other ones. Obviously there's your exhaust manifolds, because obviously they were a flat 6, these. Not a V6 or a straight 6, they were a flat 6. There's your oil filter, which has been done, and the oil's draining. A lot of oil. I think it's only done about 200 or 300 miles since its last MOT, so that oil, it may look black in the container, but if you dip your finger, it's actually like new. But there's one thing on these, which is what you call your Ims bearing, which is, I'm not a massive Porsche expert, and I don't claim to be, but from what I know about them is when they go, it's goodbye engine, the engine is toast. It's your intermediate shaft bearing, which, how I understand it, sits at the back of the crankshaft, and it drives a geared sprockets which go up the engine to the camshafts. So naturally, when that bearing fails, it's like the equivalent of your timing belt or timing chain snapping, and the engine just mashes itself to bits. And the best way, which the customer's asked us to do, is, which I'm aware of, is to check the oil filter for any little like silver flakes of a bearing starting to fail, and that is absolutely perfect. So like I've mentioned, I'm going to give them this oil filter back to show somebody who's buying it, whether or not they believe you or not. You could just take it out of any random car, but I think if you're being honest enough, they will understand. I mean, that's like a clean filter anyways. It's almost as clean as the one that's just gone back in. But that is absolutely perfect. So you can give the person, whoever comes to look at it, an interested buyer, show them this, and this has been in a year, and there's nothing on it. As well as I collected up the oil that was in the oil filter casing, and that is nice and clear. There's no silver flecks in that either. So I just thought I'd show you that. I'm not claiming to be a Porsche expert, I'm just kind of doing the basics on it. And I thought I'd show you up the front end again. You've got another two front, the coffin arms as they call them. The reason why they call them a coffin arm, if you look at them from this angle, it looks like a coffin. They've got your two fork arms as well, which go up there. I just wanted to show you, obviously, clearly, it's a Porsche, the engine's in the back, but you still need all your cooling in the front. So there's a lot more goes on with the rear engine vehicle. You've got your, instead of having one air conditioning condenser, there's two small ones, one there, and then behind there is another two radiators. So naturally, you've got all your pipework up there. There are your two radiator hoses with coolant, you've got your two air con hoses, and then you come to this side, and you've got another two radiator coolant hoses and what looks to be a fuel line maybe. And then you look the length of the car, they're your two air conditioning pipes. They'll probably be your fuel pipes. That might be an additional cooler of some kind, and then you've got your brake lines as well, all run to the back of the car. And your main coolant pipes, the big ones, are here, this and this, and they run obviously under this cover. They could possibly be the other return of the aircon pipes as well, there and there. And these, but why these ones aren't covered and these ones are, who knows. But there's where all your pipe work comes in. You see your big coolant pipes there? Obviously there's your aircon pipes, they definitely are the aircon. Actually, I'll tell you what they'll be, that's my error. They're your power steering pipes, because it's your power steering cooler is also in the front. So your power steering cooler, fuel, that'll be your brake. Still not sure on that. Then you've got your radiator cooler and your aircon pipes that run there. And also, this is an automatic gearbox, so possibly that additional one over there could be your automatic gearbox cooler. There's a lot of pipework, so you've got your power steering, automatic gearbox, aircon, radiator, brake pipes, fuel pipes. There's a whole lot of stuff has to be moving around, and when you start moving engines back to the front and front to the back. This has obviously got the big brake package on it as well, which are rather nice to look at. Drilled brakes, which are all relatively new, and the turbo style wheels, which were an optional extra on this. It's got the bi-xenon headlights as well, Bose sound system. We'll get into all that later. But yeah, lovely car, next to no miles on it. So we're just getting on doing the oil and filter, MOT. Your hands are covered in oil. So yeah, I'll come back to you when it's down on the floor. Just straightforward check over, MOT, oil change, and we'll get the Corsa on, and I'll show you the rust proofing on the RAV4. So I'll come back to you soon. Right, so an update, like I said, we've got the RAV on the lift. I've already started a little bit because I had to prime it up. So there's your Lango guard. Everybody's been asking about it. It's there. If you are interested about wanting it done on your car, I'll swing this round. I've already mentioned this once before, but I'll say it again. On the main description of the channel, if you go onto it, I've added a phone number onto there, which has got my contact number. It's not my personal number. Clearly, I'm not going to put that out to the public. Leave us a message or go onto Facebook and type in Cardiff Garage North East, and you can send us a direct message via the Facebook page. So, I've just primed the gun up, so this side's been done. I've only just temporarily sprayed it to get it primed up before I start doing the job for real. The only thing is, we still use the original wax oil. You can get the Lango Guard grease, but it's pretty much the same as wax oil. We've gone round all the brake pipe areas, which I've shown you time and time again on general service and what we do on these, on all kinds of cars. Just the bits where they leave them exposed. And obviously you can't spray it round the brakes, clearly. So all these bits done here, bottom ball joints, this kind of stuff. Yeah, you just do this first. I mean, I can probably get around there because of the brake shield, but on some cars when they don't have them, definitely keep this stuff away from the brakes. Obviously all this up here is all being done, as well as the track rods. So we'll get this done, and I'll show you when it's fully done. I'm going to pull some of these trays down, but with this being a hybrid, you've just got to be very, very careful what you're doing, because all this is high voltage. So clearly I'm not going to spray it on that, because that would just be stupid. It's probably perfectly fine, but the areas around this, I think it's best we just leave those be. The Corsa, it's got the new brakes on. We've just done them. I've just got that side done before. And this side, they've got the money's worth out of it. It's done now. So that's that on. And I'll show you them down here. As soon as I pull it into the garage, it was scraping like a good one. They've absolutely wiped out the disc. And there you go, right down to the metal. So that's that. Corsa's done. Like I mentioned, I'll give you a quick look around the Porsche. This is for sale. If anybody wants to know, genuine, please. You know, he's not going to swap it for a Nissan Micra or a Fiesta van. I mean, if he wants to swap it for my Fiesta van, I would happily do that. The lad watches the channel for this. I'm not going to mention your name just in case you don't want it out there, but thank you for A, bringing your car to us, and B, for watching the channel. But this is for sale, so anybody genuinely interested, I can give you first opportunity and tell you this is a good car. Garage more or less from new. I mean, look at the paint on those calipers. I mean, that's just dirt. That just needs rubbed off. You see my finger there? That's like brand new. P0 tyres all round, but it's a lovely, lovely spec, this one. We've just fitted some new trim down here for them. All the brakes are new, cross-drilled ones, and believe me, they are not cheap. Like I said, the bearing, the IPS, I forgot what it is, intermediate shaft bearing, I've done a check. There isn't any filings whatsoever, and we're giving them back the old filter, so that's a cracking thing to have as a piece of history for this. It's all in good condition, 30,000 mile, but it's got all the extras on, parking sensors. Again, the Boxer S means it's a 3.2. It's got the headlight washers, bi-xenons, when they've got upgraded Osram night breakers in, so they're even brighter again than the standard xenons on them. And when you get to the inside, obviously it's the soft top. When you get to the inside, it's got loads of extras in here as well. He's going to give it a good clean down, obviously, before he puts it up for sale, but it's got the Bose sound system in, rare to find to start with on these. It's even got the memory seats, which I believe is rather rare for these. Electric seats. My dad's been in here, so I'm just not sure I'll be able to fit in. Oh, and there you go, 38,000 mile. It's got all sorts. It's got the CR22 sound system, which is an upgrade. They're old school. Love that. Absolutely love that. It's got all the extras again with being the automatic. It's got your Tiptronic on the steering wheel. Cruise control. I think one of these, has it not? I can't remember. I'm sure this had cruise control, unless I'm cracking up. That might be it, or it could be the CD player option. I could have sworn this car had cruise, but maybe it doesn't. Oh well. Must be me being incorrect on that one. Right, so obviously it's got the heated seats. They're an option. It's got loads of bits and bobs added. I'm sure all this on the dash are limited edition. It's got the airbag, it's got all this separate window in here. There, that was what it was. That Bose subwoofer right there. And then there's little tweeters behind the seats as well as down there. So it's got the full works, and I can tell you now the aircon on this car is freezing cold. Electric roof. So there we go. Enough of the sales patter, otherwise I might end up buying it myself. But But again, one seat, I'm struggling, and I definitely kind of put the dogs in it. So there's not many places I would go and need to use a car like this. But I just thought I'd show you that. I'm not going to blab on too long, because I'm going to crack on, get the Lango guard done on that RAV4. Then once that's done, David did actually say to us, like I say, I'm not mentioning full names or anything, to run it over to him. So it might be a good opportunity to have a little drive in it to see what I think, because I genuinely haven't drove this. Before anybody says speeding, I swear on my kids' life, you give me the keys to a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a Porsche, I'm not interested in speeding about. I couldn't care less. It doesn't interest me. I'd sooner just feel the experience of driving a car. Right, so that's the job done. A whole lot easier than doing the wax oil, and I feel much better after this than if I would be doing one of them. So it may look in some areas that I haven't done it. It shows up more in shiny areas. So I have obviously done this whole area here of the boot floor, which has some kind of factory protection on. But I've even done the exhaust. You can see how it's been. It looks like people say you've just sprayed oil on it, but it's a penetrating oil that goes into everything. Even more so, I would say, with the rust, I was saying, with a paint, it'll sit on it as a protectant. But where it comes in handy is when you've got like this kind of crusty rust, it'll sink into it. It's a penetrating fluid. So what it does, it penetrates the rust, where it's more of a porous material, whereas with paint like this, it sits on top as an extra layer of protection. So it works in two ways. So obviously I've done all, like I've said, those bits in there, you don't spray that deep in because you'll be getting into the brakes. But obviously I've done all the springs. I've made sure I've sprayed down inside of these, up into them, and around the whole area. Like I've mentioned, the whole exhaust's been done. Metal fuel tank on these, done that. I've done a bit around these cabling, but not much. You can see I've done there and around it. Just to be careful, I've had these down. I've done all the subframe at the front, the arms up. I've had it down to like chest height. I've done all up in our arches around, like obviously the cowlings there. Bottom of the shocker, the full shocker casing, the spring, subframe, all around here. Even into here, you can see on the front cross members, they've been done. Front arms, along the sills, all the way along. So that basically the whole underneath has been protected. But this is a nice clear stuff. It has got quite a nice, like a half decent smell actually. It's like cross between like a wax oil and WD-40. But so I've been told, Lango guard's got some kind of, is it lanolin or something out of sheep fur? What keeps it waterproof? So yeah, if anybody's interested in having this done to their vehicle, just give us a message. I'll let you know the price. Obviously, it depends on the main time you waste here. This vehicle's not been bad, as this is the majority of the dirt we've getting off it. But if you're going to bring an L200 in, 2 inches thick of muck underneath, probably I would just refuse it. But if it's a normal car coming in, like this, a newish car, the price varies between bringing a massive truck in to bringing a car that's quite badly rotted, which needs a lot of scraping down done. So let us know. Like I've mentioned, go onto my YouTube channel, the main description of the channel, click description, there's a phone number on there, drop us a message or go onto Facebook and let us know on there. One last thing before we go, because I've got Friday's vlog tomorrow, the Porsche. We'll do a little start. I need to check the lights on it anyways. We'll do a start up, not revving it or nothing like that. Just see what it sounds like. I thought I showed you around this car before it's for sale, and I'm thinking, Dan, you haven't even started it up. Come on. So I'll start it up, and we'll have a little listen to it on idle. I'll just tweak the steering. 2 moments. Right, so here we go. Sounds lovely, that. Nice, flat 6, burble. Lovely. Absolutely glorious. No, that's not smoke, it's condensation. All do that when you start them up from cold. But that does sound nice. Now I'm going to stop looking at it and stop talking about it before I start in my mind trying to buy it. I don't need another car. So there we go. I did just want to check the headlamps, because this one, like I've said, is the bi-xenons. And I just forgot to check that they're levelling themselves up okay, which they are nicely. That nice tinge of blue to them. So I'm going to leave that here today, guys, because I think this week's vlog has well and truly gone over the hour mark, but I'm trying to add as much content in as I can for you. I'll catch you on tomorrow's vlog on Friday. But I'm going to keep things short today on Friday. There's not a great deal in. We've grafted to get most of the work done this week earlier. We've got an Audi A3 S-Line in for MOT. Nothing interesting. It's been checked over. It's one of my regular customers. Nothing really to show on that. It's currently away getting MOT. The Porsche is due to go back this afternoon. We're sorting a few more jobs on that. That's done. But that's a lot. I'll just show you this Dacia Duster. Quite a common car now for like towing smaller caravans and doing a little bit of light off-roading. And this one is the four-wheel drive. I've personally never worked on one of these before. I just thought I'd show you underneath. This is in for MOT. I haven't found a great deal wrong with it. A little bit of play on these bottom ball joints on the drop links. Not a big deal, just an advisory. So we'll advise them and get it back in. I don't know if you can hear that. A little bit of a knock. It's just slight, ever so slight. So with them. But I just thought I'd show you the setup of these. They look like quite a sturdy kind of idea. In my opinion, I'm not keen of all these little tiny arms. Like how many? 1, 2, 3 arms like that, and it just, I don't know, but it is what it is. It's a light off-roader, you know. It's not claiming to be anything. It'll get you off a muddy field, something like that, and off through the snow in the winter, in the ice, and that's about it. But it has actually got an alright system on it. Inside the car, it says 2-wheel, 4-wheel in lock. It's even got some form of centre diff lock, which isn't bad for one of these. But yeah, just thought I'd show you underneath. Of course, you've got a huge DPF on them, which is right there with your temperature sensors and whatnot on. You're a bit rusty underneath this, but you know what I tell you about the registrations. SF, Scotland, anything that's been to Scotland tends to be hit worse than the others. It's not a golden rule, it's not a 100% rule. Doesn't mean the car hasn't been registered in Scotland and then brought down to London from new, but generally speaking, when these are like that, there's a few areas I want to have a little bit of a look around at the top of the sills where it's just bubbling up, which I'll show you. Obviously, I've been around the pipes with a big grease, stuff like that, you know. That's all been done. I don't know how clear you can see that. The front coil springs are a little bit corroded, but they're not broken or anything. It's perfectly fine, but maybe an advisory because they are getting rather crispy. And mainly, you guys, just so you know, what I always tend to do is I haven't worked on this car before. I just put the reg into the checker and check what the MOT tester had failed or advised it on the year before, and then it gives me a line to go off. So for example, on this car, last year the MOT tester advised these front coil springs for being corroded. Normally I'm not that finicky. I don't know how well that is shown without the light. 2 seconds, I'll get the light. I'm not normally that finicky, in my opinion, unless they're broken. But they are getting a bit corroded. But unless they're broken, which they're not, I'm not that picky. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't look good on me as a tester. If it was advised last year, they're not advised by me, and someone buys the car and they go, oh, the springs are corroded. They were advised the year before, not this year. Why? Yes, it's tester's discretion. You can do whatever you want. Them springs, I don't even think there's grounds to say anything to do with corrosion. At the end of it, it's bare metal, like it's solid steel, coil steel, like anything on the car. And the whole underneath of every car is full of rust and surface corrosion like they are. But that's what I tend to do. I go through and just check. I do my check of the vehicle, which if you're doing it right, you should pick up all this anyway. But I always like to just look at last year's MOT and then you go to those direct areas and see, just like them, you know, and just try to keep things, uniform. It makes you look a little bit picky if the test of the year before was a bit picky. I mean, some very, very minor things I would leave out. Or some testers might be too laid back, and I might be wanting to add more advisories on, you know. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you that, but I just want to show you these few little bits of rust on the sill. Maybe just to look out for if you're buying one of these. It's starting to bubble on the sill, but if I push my finger on it, all you're allowed to use is finger and thumb pressure for the test. You can't go brain stuff. And they're perfectly fine, perfectly solid. But I think that's going to be problems in not too distant future. I'll have to open the door and have a better look at that, just to see how far it goes under, which it does actually. But again, without jamming my fingers, I'll just bring this back a bit. Right. Yeah, so obviously, with my fingers, push it. That's all you're allowed to do. You're not allowed to punch them like hard or nothing, just finger and thumb, pressure, and that's it. Honestly, that's it. That's all you're allowed to do. You can use the MOT approved tool, which is this plastic hammer. But you tap it. But this is okay using it underneath of the vehicle or on stuff like this. Tapping these. But on painted surface, nope. I wouldn't want that braid off the side of my car. So you're not allowed to use that on that. Really, you're not allowed to scrape protection off. So you will get the absolute book thrown at you if you got caught hitting that with one of these. It's finger and thumb pressure on painted areas especially. You've got no right to be scraping off people's paint or protection or hitting bodywork, which that is. So it's a bit of a shit really, because if this was an older vehicle, you've got to give a 3-month guarantee on that rust. How are you meant to know how long that's going to last between now and the boiling hot summer, where it'll last forever, to in the middle of the winter where they're spreading salt every day? It's not a good job being a tester, I'll tell you that now. But yeah, that's that. With this one done, shut the door. The Audi's away, and I might be getting another project. Yes, another project. That means it's going to be, I'm really going to have to start clearing stuff out shortly. So on that note, if there is any of the vehicles I've got that you guys are interested in, let us know. The Mercedes ML is not for sale. I can't sell that. I need it for the caravan. And to be quite honest, I really like this little Fiesta van. Probably wouldn't sell that. But any of the other vehicles, would anybody be interested? If you are, I've got my details left on the page. You just go to the main page description, my phone number's on there. Give us a call. Any of them in particular that you're interested in, let us know. Because I'm getting another one and I need to make space on the fleet. And I have got too much. Now I'm at the point where if I get this one this afternoon, I'm potentially going to have to take it up to my grandmother's house and leave it on our drive, which is 3 miles away, which is far from ideal. My pal has offered us to have storage at his place at Middlesbrough, but it's the logistics of having to drive down to Middlesbrough, leave it there, find somebody to bring us back, and then when I want it back again, need somebody to give us a lift down to bring it back. So as nice as the offer is, unless it's a permanent thing, it's not really of any use, unfortunately. But I desperately need to find some storage somewhere, but as everybody knows, prices are just crazy at the minute. The only option I've got is after September, which isn't far off now, when the caravan goes away for the winter, I've got an extra space on my drive to keep the extra car. So that's the only thing I've got. Anyways, less waffle. This week's vlog's going to be long enough. I'm doubtful I'll even be able to get the thing uploaded. If I've mentioned in this video about going to the Festival of the Unexceptional tonight, going down to Middlesbrough tonight, I have made an absolute balls up. I was just about, honestly, I've got my overnight bag packed and everything at home, ready to leave this evening to go down to Middlesbrough, thinking that I'll be stopping over at Chris's. And here it's next week. So I've had to cut a day off my holiday. I was going away Monday to Saturday. We're going to River Breamish, Powburn. And I've had to come home on the Friday. I've knocked the day off, so I'm coming home Friday now instead of the Saturday, so that I can get back, get sorted, get the caravan on the drive, get a quick shave, shower, jump in the car, down to Middlesbrough for tea time to get a decent night's sleep to be up at 6 the next morning to go from Middlesbrough down to Norwich somewhere, I think it is. Could be totally wrong. That's somewhere down that end of the country, which I'm quite keen to go for the drive because it's been years since I've been up that way, down that way, across like the Norfolk Broads and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going that far down or not. It's Norwich way or I don't know, but it's been a while since I've been down any of those roads, so I'm quite looking forward to bringing back some memories of driving places that I used to go when we were kids, when we were going away in the caravan with my mum and dad. So I'm quite looking forward to that. So a week's holiday, followed by coming back and having that weekend on the car show, and hopefully getting my new car the day. So anyways, catch you soon. I'll try and get this uploaded. I hope it does. Catch you on next week's vlog. I hope everybody has a good weekend. I think it's the school's breaking up the day, so I hope everyone's busy, got good plans, family plans for the weekend, and I'll catch you on Tuesday's vlog next week. Bye.